So some of the features and functionality that you can add to your shopping cart solution is the ability to track alternate extras. So when we talk about tool tracking, we talk about, I want to rent a mini excavator. I want some buckets with it. So I can also tag buckets along with that rental. I don't have to keep dipping in and out of the catalog. They just you can assign accessories to main items, and they will follow the main item through the system. You can make those mandatory. So as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm from the UK. Here in the UK, we have rules about chainsaws, and you cannot rent a chainsaw from anywhere without renting the PPE that goes with it. So the safety equipment, the goggles, the visor. It's a legislation. So we would make the safety equipment for the chainsaw mandatory, and it would grey this box out here. So then when I change the quantity, it would automatically put the quantity up here to 1. So things like that, logic that we can build into the system to help your purchasing and your rental journey. So accessories track alongside the main item. We can also hold things like documents. So I've got a COVID-19 prevention and control document. I've got a technical spec sheet. So if I open that up, it's just going to be a PDF of the machine. So if I'm on the job site and I'm trying to figure out if this machine's man enough to dig down to the depth I need to get to, I can load these type of documents into the catalog system, and they can help with that guided buying journey. Videos as well. So we have some customers that deliver safety briefings through the job site portal, and you can tag them against items and ask people to go on there and watch the safety briefings. So little things that we've added in just to help reduce the pressures on the warehouse and the yard team for all of those type of things. We can track projects and task codes, WBS codes, phase codes. The subcode structures are named very differently across the world, so naming conventions in the system get a little difficult. But again, those labels can be changed. So we track project numbers. So you can see I haven't added a project number. When I logged into this, it recognized who I was and what project I'm on. And if I'm only working on that one project, it's going to automatically populate it for me. If I'm working across multiple projects, it will allow me to make a selection, and you can see that from the little magnifying glass there. So I can look at my WBS codes, and I can actually track this tool that I'm going to rent from the yard to a specific job. So you can see there I've got masonry, carpentry, subcontractor work, ground workers, electrical and services. So this machine, let's say the carpentry team are going to take this mini excavator. And then the next thing it's going to ask me for is my rental dates. So basic information like when do you require it, when are you going to require it to go off rent. We can also track things like cost types as well. So analysis type reporting. So if you're using the system for analysis reports for GL coding and things like that, the system is very clever at being able to track analysis for multiple different transactions in the system, and that may be helpful when you're integrating into SAP further downstream. So something to bear in mind as well. So we drop that into our shopping cart. And then the last stage of the process is shipping details. So again, the system will automatically know based on the master data we bring inbound from SAP what the shipping address is. If you've got more than one shipping address, then you can hold more than one in the system. So you can just select from the addresses. So again, we're trying to reduce the amount of touches in the system. So site contact name, site contact information, go to gate B on arrival. So we can also get key information across to the yard or the warehouse. We can also track re-rents in the system as well. So this could start life as a request, go into the yard to rent this machine from a Kiewit location. Someone will make a decision to say, I don't actually have that in stock on the time and date that these people need it. I'm going to have to re-rent it in from Sunbelt. So we can flip the document that gets created from the back end of this request into a re-rent, and we can push that purchase order out to Sunbelt and say, please provide this equipment, and then track it in the system just like we do with an internal piece of equipment as well. So we have multiple different layers and transactional workflows that can be configured to help with that mix of owned equipment versus re-rent equipment. So if I'm finished with the requisition, I can carry on adding things to my shopping basket, or I can save it for later and build a requisition up and send it at a later date. Maybe the project or the WBS code hasn't been created in SAP yet and backfilled in, so we can build the requisition up and add that at a later date. Or I can just go ahead and hit the button there and submit the requisition, and that will go off and do its thing. It'll tell me requisition's been created, so we're now tracking that in the system. We have a reference number. It sent us an email to say this is what you've ordered. From this moment on, you are tracking that piece of equipment in the system. You're tracking that request. And from a job site perspective, once we're finished shopping and checking out, we also have what we call the equipment list. So the equipment list is essentially like when you buy something from Amazon or eBay, track it. You want to know that someone's working on it. You want to know that it's on its way. So from within this job site portal screen, you can track all of your pending orders. So the section at the top that says outstanding requisition and pending orders, this is telling me everything that I've ordered but is not yet arrived on the job site. And you can see the various different statuses for my equipment. One here says approved. So it's been approved. We're just waiting for it to be fulfilled. This one's a draft requisition, so we haven't even sent it in yet. This one's awaiting dispatch. And if it's coming in from a re-rent vendor, we can also track that. It comes in a different color, and it gives us different information on screen. So as things progress through and go from different statuses, so if this one's awaiting dispatch, we've issued a internal contract number. We've got a purchase order number which we're sending out to the vendor, and we've got the vendor details in there as well. So very interactive. As things change in real time, things will change on the screen here as well and give you the information you need. And then as it's goods receipted into the system, things start arriving on site, we'll start to see them appear in the on rent section here. So this is where we're able to track those tools down at the job site level. And again, it's all very user intuitive, very interactive. So I can tick buttons and it will open up additional widgets. So I can do things like allocate it to somebody. So if I've got a crane or a drill and I want to allocate it to someone and that person loses it, you can go back and see who last had it and try and investigate where this item's gone. So trying to reduce the amount of losses, the amount of damages, making people accountable for the equipment that they own and they use. We've got the option to be able to tag people to those pieces of equipment. I can get to PDF copies of purchase orders and contracts in here. I can amend off rent dates. So if you're using, we've got features and functionality here to manage budgeting and forecasting. So if you want to put a budget around a rental for a crane or an excavator, you can tag that in the system, and then as things bill, you can see the cumulative cost and how much you've got left to spend based on drawing down from a pot of money against a project or a specific rental. So we do have some customers that utilize that feature, and that's worked out really well from a budgeting and forecasting perspective. So if you need to revise your dates or anything to recalculate those values, we have the features to be able to do that. There's also the feature to be able to move it. So if you move from one WBS code to another, you can just lift and shift that contract behind the scenes without needing to off rent it and create a new rental contract. And then all of the complexity that goes with that, if you're re-renting items in, you can just lift and shift entire contracts, change them to a different project number or change them to a different WBS code. You can do that by the day, by the hour. The system will allow you to do that in the background, and then obviously from a billing perspective, it will just pick up back end and bill to the relevant WBS code for the day and the period that you've set it to in the system. We've also got query management solution here. So if something breaks down, you need to send, or you want someone to send a mechanic technician out to fix something, you can create a call log. The ability to be able to log a query to say this is broken, please send someone to fix it or swap it out, exists in the system as well. And you can track and manage little CRM type functionality in the background that allows you to track and manage text messaging in the background, so you can talk to the yard or the warehouse from within this application right up until the point that it's fixed or replaced. And then finally, the ability to request something off rent. So I'm finished, please come pick it up. Send a pickup request into the yard as well. So again, like I said, fully interactive, fully intuitive, self-service information at the fingertips of the job sites.